real quick, this house, he does owe 240 on the mortgage. But looking at the comps as I'm talking to him, the house really ARVs anywhere between 255 to 280. So definitely keep that in mind as you're listening to the rest of the call. So he's saying he owes 240, but everything fixed up with nicer finishes than he currently has in it right now would give you an ARV of around 255 to 280.
And we moved to this house, and it just sits over there. And I don't very rarely get to go over there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is the burden that you guys aren't like really getting a lot of cash flow on it, or is it really just kind of just kind of tired of dealing with it, collecting rent, all that kind of thing?
All that kind of thing.
Gotcha.
That's really truly it. And it's. Go ahead.
No, you good.
No, you're fine. Believe me, I don't have any questions.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So what's your monthly? What's the monthly mortgage payment on it right now? Like with all your taxes and insurance escrowed in?
It's right around 13. Right around 13 some change.
Okay. So we actually buy properties two ways, right? So, one, we make a cash offer, which, typically we would have to, buy at a significant discount just because, the cash, pay all the closing costs and, cost of the money. But we also do buy properties on terms. And it sounds like, you were saying that, as long you said you owe about 240 on the mortgage. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And are you guys just looking to kind of just like walk away scot-free type of a thing without having to bring money to the table and just like really get rid of it?
It's truly, Reese. I don't know, and I won't sound silly. Could we? Or did we need to? I'm sure we could.
Sure.
It's a whole bunch of different variables that are up in the air. I truly am not this is where the taking advantage part. I'm not the savvy real estate person to say, yeah, sure, we can do this and do that. I truly don't know. I am the weekend warrior.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, we might not be, the best fit as a buyer for you guys, but we've been doing this for, I personally been doing this for 5 years, and even my mentor, he's been doing it for 20. So, there's a lot of experience there. But at the end of the day, we want to make sure that something is the best fit for you. However, just kind of looking at it, even you putting it on the market and having to pay, closing costs and real estate commissions would probably end you in a position where you would have to bring money to the table. So I don't know if that would be the best fit.
Okay.
However, what I would be interested in doing is possibly purchasing this on terms. And when I say terms, what I mean is what we would do is, we could possibly look at, just taking over those mortgage payments, maybe giving you guys a small amount of money down, and just take over those mortgage payments. The deed would then get transferred into our name. We just continue to pay the financing. And what we would do is rent it out, add it to our rental portfolio.
Okay. All right. So then eventually you're more or less just taking over the house via the deed. I'm switching it that way. And I get that.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So the term that they call it is subject to the existing financing. But what it really allows, it really allows for two things, right? It allows us to be able to, one, provide you a solution to, as an investor, come in, take over the property, put a little bit of cash in your pocket, and let you just really wash your hands of the entire thing. And then we take it over, we put a tenant in there, and we completely manage that cash flow. And it allows you to, like I said, just be able to walk away and be done and not have to bring money to the table.
I'm with you. And I think I said that in as you say it, it sounds like it's probably the best thing and the easiest thing.
Right.
And how does that all look in regards to, and again, being completely naive, how does that all look? How does that work? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
So let me kind of go over a few things or concerns that I'll bring up that you might not know to ask. Right.
Okay.
So when it comes to doing this type of thing, right, what we're going to be doing is we will be taking over the mortgage payments. The mortgage would stay in your name, but the deed would transfer into our name, right? Then the question you probably have right after that is what happens if we don't make that mortgage payment, right?
Yep.
So what happens then is what we do is we put what's called either a performance deed or it's called a deed in lieu, like a deed in lieu of foreclosure. So we use a servicing company called Westar, and what they do is we send all the money to them, and then they deposit all that money into the mortgage company's account and send you an email letting you know that that mortgage has been serviced every single month. Now, let's say, for example, something crazy happens, like I get abducted by aliens and, not making the payment to Westar. What they're going to do is they're going to call you on day 30 of the missed payment and just let you know, hey, sir, they haven't made the payment. Tomorrow, the deed is going to be transferred back into your name. And what's going to happen is, one, you will be able to keep the down payment that we gave you. You'll be able to keep all of the upgrades that we made to that property, and you get to sell it again. However, we've been doing this for a while. That doesn't actually ever happen. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And then the other thing is something called a due on sale clause. So what a due on sale clause means is that when there's a transfer of the deed, most mortgage companies have that clause in there that what can happen is they can call that loan due immediately. Now, we have multiple ways to protect against that. We've done quite a few of these deals that has never happened. However, if it does happen, we have an insurance policy through Equity Assurance that if that does get called, Equity Assurance then satisfies that bank and they will rewrite that loan to us.
Okay. All right.
So there's a lot of protections in there for you guys. And then there's probably the question of, will we be able to go buy another property and how will it look on the debt to income ratio? So typically after about 3 payments, what's going to happen is if you guys go to get another loan, just please reach out to us. We'll be able to show that another company has been making those payments on that mortgage, and that loan officer will be able to strike it from your debt to income ratio completely.
Oh, okay. Huh. And I don't think we'll be buying another house, but I get that thought process.
Yeah. So I just wanted to cover, those 4 or 5 things. I know you said you're a little novice, but I wanted to bring up those are really the most common concerns, and that is how we're able to get around them. So I'll give you an example. I have one in Canton that we just did the same thing, just because the gentleman, really needed to move out. House needed a lot of work, but he just owed too much on the mortgage. And we are doing the same thing on his property as well.
Huh. Okay. Huh. So it's all intriguing, and I got to do my homework now. When do you need? Because I promise you, Reese, I'll have like 30 questions as soon as I hang up the phone. So,
dude, absolutely. What I would really love to do is maybe, so I'm sure your wife is probably going to have some questions as well.
Yep.
Maybe it might be best after you talk it over with her is that we schedule another call so that way I can answer all of those questions. Everyone feels good on the same page. Because if she starts drilling you for answers, you might not have them. So.
That's a guarantee.
Right. That way, just everyone's on the same page. Everyone feels comfortable. And if you guys do, that's great. We would love to. Move forward. I definitely like the area. I think it'll make us a great rental, and I think it might be hopefully something that would be able to solve your issue and be able to do it fairly quickly. And we would also take care of all the costs.
All right. Perfect. So.
What's happening here?
So let me completely digress and digest all of this in my head.
Sure.
What is your schedule like for next week of this time, or yeah?
Let me see. So you wanted to circle back next Monday, or did you want to, circle back later this week?
We can do later on this week. I'm just trying to think of my work schedule, and then I know hers.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
we could.
Yes.
Nope. You go ahead. You're looking at your calendar.
Yeah, like Wednesday from like 1 to 4, I'm fairly booked, but I'm open in the morning and open after 4 p.m. So I'm open all day. Thursday? Let's see. So Thursday I can't do anything between 1 and 2:30. Everything else is open.
Okay. Okay. Because I'm trying to think of her work schedule. Let's shoot for, and I know you're going to send me an invite. Let's shoot for 4 o'clock on Thursday. That's the 18th, right?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah, shoot me an invite for that, and then if something changes, I'll let you know. But then that way, it gives me a firm time frame of when I need to have everything sort of figured out on my end.
Yeah, that's definitely not a problem. What I'll do is I'll have Natasha send over the invite, and then she can just text you to confirm, make sure that everything's good. If we have to move it around, that's totally fine as well.
Okay.
And I look forward to try and make this work for you both.
Perfect. I appreciate you setting this up and reaching out, and we'll figure it out some way, somehow.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, man. Talk to you soon.
Not a problem. Have a good afternoon.
Hi guys, so I wanted you to just kind of quickly point out a couple of things that I did in that call, and they were definitely for a specific reason. So when I was explaining it to him about the subject too, and he was like, oh, well, this is the part where, you take advantage, or like, I don't really know what's going on. So instead of telling him what to do, what I did was tell him the things to be concerned about, right? One, all 4 or 5 of those things that I'm telling him to be concerned about, those are objections that I promise you are going to come later when he has the conversation with his wife, right? So one, I want to address those right away and take care of them before they ever even become an objection, right? So, and the way that I'm presenting it is like, hey, look, these are the things, these are the concerns, these are the things that you should look out for and be concerned about. One, I'm gaining massive credibility and trust because I'm coming from a helpful standpoint, and I'm not trying to sell him or tell him exactly what to do and why he should sell his house to us this way, right? I'm painting it as an option that really solves all of his problems, right? And also, if you heard earlier in the call, I already told him, hey, we're probably not your buyer. So all of those kind of things really, put together start to, one, build trust rapidly. And by me kind of coming right out of the gate and saying, hey, we're probably not the buyer for you, he's automatically going to want to be like, oh, well, wait, why? Well, I want you to buy it. Why don't you want to buy it? Right? It's obviously not going to say that, but that's the kind of the psychological thing that's happening in that situation, right? So I had a couple questions in here, so let me just go over those really quickly before we move on to the next one. So this one is, so if the seller agrees to do a subject to, and down the road the seller wants to apply for another loan with conventional financing, won't the next bank or conventional lender see that the original loan is not paid off? Won't that raise some red flags? So that's a super great question, right? Now, what I told him to do is go ahead, contact us, right? Because we are going to be using the servicing company, Westar. Westar is like 17 bucks, right? One, it creates a layer of separation between you and that seller, right? So let's say that we are going to keep this property and not wholesale it off. This strategy is, you can do multiple different things with this house. One being wholesale, two being able to keep it and add it to your rental portfolio, three being able to keep it, wrap it with another loan, have a homestead buyer, which is basically just someone that's going to live there, come in, put a healthy down payment down, and then you're selling them that new house because they couldn't get approved by conventional financing at anywhere between 7 and 9.5%. And now you're cash flowing, but you're cash flowing as a lender and no longer as a landlord. So, but when it comes to the bank looking at that other loan, they're going to be able to contact us. We're going to be able to show the proof that Westar has been paying this mortgage every single month. Typically, you need about 3 months to be able to show that. And the person underwriting that loan is going to strike it from their debt to income ratio, and they'll be able to get approved for that loan. So it's Westar, like W-E, I'll just type it in here, Westar. And what was the name of that deed instrument? So it's called a performance deed or a deed in lieu. Basically, it's a deed in lieu of foreclosure, where you can pretty much create it. Basically, at closing, they sign a document stating if they are 30 days late at day 31, that deed has literally already been signed over at the title company back to me. So instead of having to go through a foreclosure process, then now the deed comes back to me. Typically in that situation, what you're going to do is obviously have some sort of communication with the person that's in that house. Say, hey, hey guys, what's going on? Whether you have it as a rental or you have a homestead buyer in there, and you either just work it out. Maybe you give them cash for keys to get out in the next 2 weeks. You pay that upcoming mortgage payment, so that way everything is fine. And then you collect another large down payment, or you just put another renter in there. So these are the type of calls and conversations that are needed to be had with the leads that you guys are having coming in that do have little to no equity. So guys, those of you that are just joining, my name is Reese Pennington. Right now we are going over seller calls. This is inside the seller. We're doing live seller calls. We just listened to a creative financing deal. A gentleman that has little to no equity is willing to sell his property on terms. And those terms that we're looking at are going to be us taking over his existing mortgage payments, transferring that deed into our name. So guys, what we're going to do is we're actually going to jump into the next call. Yes, Westar is a national company. Westar is 100% a national company. They're just a servicing company, right? So They collect the payment, then they send the payment out. It's a service that's set up that they make money just by collecting and distributing as a third party. So that way you're not having to be paid money to you and have to handle all of that stuff for only 17 bucks a month. That's one payment. And then for like, if you have to make two payments, it's $7 additional for each subsequent payment that they would have to transfer out.